This is MEC Chairman Scott Stratton. With me today is the Negotiating Committee Chairman Scott Larsen to talk Boeing 767. When this discussion first started, we understood that FedEx was looking at either the Airbus 330 or the Boeing 767. We also started our research at that time. Part of that research was coming up with our guiding principles, which are these: honor seniority, not concessionary, and as clear of language as possible. And in more macro, protect wide-body flying and not place the Boeing 767 talks in front of our contract talks. Last summer, the company started the negotiations with a proposal that did not meet any of our requirements, none of our guiding principles. Therefore, nothing happened for a matter of months. We never varied from our commitment to our guiding principles. When talks restarted in the fall, things got much closer with multiple passes across the table. Throughout this time, we stood resolute from start to finish, and the result is the agreement that you have now in the 767. I've asked our Negotiating Committee Chairman, Scott Larsen, to drill down into some of the details of the proposed LOA.
Our main guiding principles, as Scott described in his opening, were to protect wide-body seats, honor seniority, unequivocally state that the 767 is a wide body for all pay purposes, and it's a non-concessionary agreement. The biggest reason this is a standalone LOA, as we started the 767 negotiations back in the early fall, and as things accelerated on through winter, we were dual-tracked with the interim talks, both bargaining sessions going on at the same time. As the 767 picked up momentum, we realized that the deal was here to be had, and so we took advantage of that. The airplanes are coming, and the postings for those seats will happen before we reach a full TA on a comprehensive contract. It's off the ledger board. As we continue in Section 6, we've got our gains in the 767, and we'll move on. The next step in the ratification of this TA is membership voting. The MEC has elected 13-0 to send it out for membership ratification. So if you haven't done it yet, you need to read the LOA. It's available on our website. Watch these kind of videos like this to get your information from reliable sources. Attend the hub turn meetings, the webcasts, the call-in sessions that we'll do, and ask your questions. Use your reasonable man filter and get the proper answers you need, and make an informed and educated vote for ratification on the LOA. In the LOA, the base is structured as a joint base, 7.5 and 7.6. It's a common base, but maintains separate bid packs all the way down to reserve assignment. So there'll be a 767 bid period package and a 757 bid period package with no ability to cross between them until reserve assignment is made. In the segregated bid packs as they're built, as I said earlier, the 767 can't have 757 flying in it. However, the 757 bid pack can only have 767 flying in it at the approval of the ALPA scheduling chairman. All right, let's discuss pay rates for a minute. The 767 pilot, by virtue of a Section 24 award, is a wide-body pilot for all pay purposes. He will receive the Section 3 wide-body rates for his longevity for everything he does for pay purposes. 757 pilots, again by their Section 24 seniority award, are narrow-body pilots, and they'll receive narrow-body pay for everything they do at their longevity rate in Section 3. However, 757 pilots will be paid their current longevity wide-body rate if they block out on a reserve trip that contains at least one flight segment in a 767 or has wide-body pay rates attached to it. 757 pilots can also earn those wide-body rates if they block out on a draft trip that contains at least one 767 flight segment or has wide-body pay rates attached to it. Or if the 757 pilot blocks out on a trip that is then upgauged to a 767, a tail swap. And one final point to make on 757 pilots earning 767 wide-body pay is that it pays for the entire trip, just not the flight sequence. So a 5-day pairing that has one 767 flight leg in it pays wide-body pay for the entire pairing. Field standby pay will be based on the gauge aircraft that it is covering, and it'll be placed in the appropriate bid pack. So if that field standby is covering a 767 flight sequence, it'll be placed in the 767 bid pack and pay wide-body pay. Likewise, if it's covering a 757 flight sequence, it'll be in the 757 bid pack and pay narrow-body pay unless it actually operates in a 767 aircraft. In the instructor world, 767 instructors will be paid just like the line pilot that holds a 767 Section 24 award. They are paid wide-body for all pay purposes. 757 instructors will be paid just like their 757 Section 24 line pilots, and they'll be paid narrow-body pay unless they are on a pay-only line and perform instructor duties on a 767 trip. So anytime an instructor, 757 instructor, touches a 767, if he's checking or instructing, he'll be paid the wide-body rate. Instructors will hold their standing bid award based on Section 24 seniority. So instructors can bid just like a line pilot. Instructors' employment is covered under Section 11L3 of the contract and 11M4 of the contract, and that states that the instructors hold their instructor status at the discretion of the standards manager or training manager. What prevents the company from understaffing the 767 or overstaffing the 757 is the crew staffing ratio that we've established in the LOA. It's a pretty basic formula that takes a look at the scheduled credit hours of the 767 and 757, along with the ratio of 767 and 757 pilots, and it compares those two ratios. The company can't play games with the scheduled credit hours. That's a published number that'll be in the bid pack that we readily have access to. And there's a penalty if they understaff the 767. This staff skewing doesn't give the company the financial benefit because they're paying the penalty payment of the extra 2 R24 lines per undermanned pilot in the 767. And those R24 lines in the 757 bid pack are paid wide-body pay for all pay purposes for the month. That includes RLG, makeup flying, draft, volunteer, training, and vacation. So it's a pretty stiff penalty for undermanning the 767 seat. Positions for the 767, like any aircraft on property, will be bid by seniority in Section 24, filling of vacancies, as we've done since 1999. We chose the staffing ratio method that's in the LOA after evaluating several different staffing methods. The ratio in the LOA is the most transparent and simple to properly calculate the required number of 767 pilots based on numbers that are readily available to the line pilot. If the company understaffs a 767 or it fails the test at the beginning of the bid period package before the bids are awarded, and the company understaffs the 767, they're required to publish 2 additional R24 lines for each pilot they're understaffed. These R24 lines will be in the 757 bid pack and for seniority bidding by 757 pilots. Those pilots awarded those R24 lines, we compensated at the wide-body rate for all pay events for the month. Our opinion, these penalty triggers for the reserve R24 lines in the 757 bid pack are a financial penalty for the company, and it honors seniority by allowing that 757 pilot that holds that line by seniority to receive wide-body pay for all pay events, not just as RLG. One of the questions we've already received is what's to prevent the company from just disregarding the penalty and understaffing the 767 and just paying the penalty and having those R24 lines as a flexible way to staff the 767. First off, it's more expensive than manning the 767 correctly. Let's take, for example, there's 100 combined non-pay-only captains in the 2 airplanes in the base. And at 30% of that schedule flying for that month is 767 flying or mixed flying. The ratio calls for 30 captains to be in a 767 bid pack, but the company, through the Section 24 standing bids, has only manned that 767 with 20 trained and activated captains, leaving themselves 10 short. The LOA says that they must pay 20, double the shortage of 757 captains wide-body pay for that month through those designated R24 lines that'll be published in the 757 bid pack. So in other words, the company has to pay a pretty substantial penalty, and the wide-body flying will be flown by reserve pilots that'll get compensated at the wide-body rate for everything that they do. It's an enormous, unnecessary, and avoidable expense to them. A big concern over the crew ratio is association oversight of the staffing of the 767. The association SIG monitors scheduled credit hours as part of their monthly analysis. Each month, the company will provide the numbers required for the staffing formula on page 2 of the respective bid packs, both in the 757 and 767, for everyone to see. One of the challenges we had with the FAA certification with the common type rating, the 7.5 and 7.6, was how to handle the 3 different configurations that we expect to see the airplanes in. The first configuration, like the 757s are now, is what we call the advanced cockpit, flat panel screens. The 767s that we have coming are also going to have the advanced cockpit. However, the first couple of airplanes, the numbers 4 right now, are going to be round dial airplanes that we've deemed the classic configuration airplanes. We've developed a special bid award, SBA, to handle flying in the classic airplanes. They will be maintained in their respective bid packs. The 767 SBA will be in the 767 bid pack, and the 757, if we were to buy 757 Classics at some point in the future, would be in the 757 bid pack. And that allows that flying to be fenced off because it does require some additional training, and you can only exercise your pilot privileges in 2 to 3 different variants at a time. As the SBAs are established in the bid pack, they'll be available to anyone who holds a Section 24 award to that bid pack, current and qualified without weather restrictions in that crew position. SBA bids are currently planned to last no longer than 6 months, with inverse awards only occurring no more than once in 14-month period. By now, we hope everybody's had the opportunity to read the LOA. If not, it's on the website for your use. Watch videos such as this, attend the hub turn meetings, log into the webcasts when they're available, and call in on the dial-in sessions. The information is out there, and you just need to get it from a reliable source so you can make your own opinion on this LOA and base it on all the information that's available. In closing, I'd like to talk about negotiating capital and going forward. Did we waste any negotiating capital in negotiating this section? Absolutely not. The timing of the 767's arrival at FedEx is now. They're coming in the near future. We've negotiated a superior LOA that meets the goals set by the MEC. This LOA takes the 767 introduction to our fleet off the table, it clears the ledger in this area, and we can move forward to conclude Section 6 negotiations.
In closing, we will always run all agreements and actions through our mission statement. Do what is in the best interest of FedEx pilots always. Regarding the 767, we stood resolute in our guiding principles: honor seniority, not concessionary, as clear of language as possible. 13 members of your MEC agreed that this agreement meets our mission and our guiding principles. Thank you.